Hey guys, welcome to the intro of 21.3 and point 4. Apparently you have to like and subscribe and visit our Patreon for extra videos, and we're sponsored by a bucket this week. That's what the YouTubers say, right? So, 21.3, if you're submitting your score on games.crossfit.com, if you're entered in the open, the worldwide open, you need to pick either the equipment free, the scaled foundations, or the RX version of this workout. If you're watching this video at home, chances are you're doing the equipment-free version. If you're sat at home with a rig, barbell, plates, and all the room to do the fitness, reach out to us, drop us a message on Instagram, email sam@rx10fitness.co.uk, and we can send you back some details about the RX one. But I'm fairly confident that 97% of the people watching this video are going to be doing this equipment-free version, so that's the one we're going to drill into today. So, if you're entering at games.crossfit.com, you have to do this, you can't pick and choose. If you're playing for the intramural open points, we can find a variation of this that works for you. If you're jumping on tonight just for a workout and a good time, we can find variations of these movements that are good for you. But if you are entering on the official open, you need to do this even if it gets really, really hard. And there are some movement standards attached that we're going to drill into in this first video. So, the equipment-free 21.3 flows like follows. There's a 15-minute cap on this piece, and there are 3 mini workouts inside that 15-minute cap. Each workout starts with 30 air squats and finishes with 30 thrusters on a PVC pipe or stick, and there is some gymnastics in the middle that changes each one. So part 1, we go 30 air squats, into 30 V-ups, into 30 PVC or stick thrusters. We take exactly a minute to rest. We then go 30 air squats, 30 dips, 30 thrusters. We take exactly a minute's rest, and then we go 30 air squats, 30 handstand push-ups, 30 thrusters. There is a cap of 15 minutes. You may or may not finish inside that time, but that is exactly what you'll be doing if you're entered at games.crossfit.com. If not, if you're just joining in for the great workout tonight for the intramural open points, for any of those bits and pieces, we can find some variations of this that work for you, as I said. So, we're just going to drill into the movement standards found in 21.3, the equipment-free version. Okay, kicking off with the air squats, we're going to bring Tim in here. Top of the air squat, Tim is stood up straight, so his hip is fully extended. When he squats down, his hip crease gets below his knee, and then he stands back up for a good rep. So one more. And then you spin and face just over there. Lovely, same thing. Hip crease below knee, fully extended at the top. Boom. Looking for a very, very similar thing on the thruster, so Tim's going to grab his PVC pipe, could be a broom handle, a tree branch, something that is straight. Can you face me again? Perfect. Barbells rest on his shoulder as close as he can, underneath his chin. At the bottom, he's still in that bottom of a squat, hip crease below his knee. One fluid motion up, and the rep finishes with that bar locked out over the centre of his body. We need to be really careful to make sure we're fully stood up at the top, and we've not still got a slight knee bend. Not quite standing out, not quite locking out that hip. And at the bottom, we're all the way below parallel. See, this is not a rep. Same deal on the air squat. Those are our air squats and our thrusters. The middle bit of gymnastics changes every time. The first movement we've got is the V-up. Movement standards are quite specific here. Your legs have to stay straight throughout. So you start lying on the floor with your hands and your feet touching the floor, and your legs have to stay straight. Any bend in the knee is a no rep. That makes these really hard, and you need to respect that. That's cool. Tim's going to snap up, touch his hand to any part of his foot, and snap back to the floor so hands and feet touch the floor again. Any bending of his knee is a no rep. None of this. Nope. And his hand needs to touch some part of his foot below his ankle bone. So if he's touching the top of his socks or the middle of his shin, also not a rep. Needs to touch a point on his foot. Both hands touching both feet. All good reps. We take 1 minute's rest, we get to the second piece, 30 air squats. Tim's going to get to his dips. Now the recommended setup from CrossFit is 2 chairs looking like this. Not a massive fan, and I'm not going to get Tim to do reps here because the chairs are super wobbly, alright? So if this is the setup you have to use at home because you can't find anything better, we recommend trying to get something heavy on here. Even if it's tins of beans, give yourself some kind of counterbalance to make this a little bit safer. What we actually recommend is sacking the chairs off altogether. Maybe finding the corner of a kitchen counter. We just need a setup where with your feet off the floor, you can bend your arms to get your shoulder below your elbow. Boom, that's a rep, off Tim goes. A lot more stable, a lot more solid. The corner of a kitchen worktop. Maybe you have some railings outside your building. have some other large flat surface that you can do dips off of that aren't too wobbly chairs. The chairs work, but make a judgment call on what you think is safe. Don't do something that you think is going to end up with you face planting the floor for a score on the leaderboard. It's not worth it. If you need to chat this through, again, reach out to us and we can have a look around and make some suggestions. So, dip standards, just briefly. Elbow goes below, or shoulder goes below the elbow at the bottom, pressing back out to fully locked out the top of straight arm, like so. One more. Things that happen here is we miss that bottom portion because it gets really hard at the bottom. Tim's just a little bit shallow in that dip. Not quite there, still not a rep. Or we get super into this and we start missing the lockout at the top is the other thing we might see. There we go, loads of nearly reps. None of these count, he needs full extension, shoulder below the elbow at the top. Third and final movement coming over, our handstand push-up for our equipment-free version. You need a box on the floor. This is 24 inches away from the wall and 36 inches across. Tim needs to keep his palms inside this box the whole time for his handstand push-up. Just going to slide these boxes out of the way a little bit. Tim's going to kick himself upside down. Palms are inside the box. From here, he's going to tap the top of his head to the floor and push back up to a full lockout. Could be kipping, could be strict. Goes for a kipping one, could do a strict one as well. Providing his head makes contact with the floor and he gets back to full lockout, hand staying inside the box, he is good. So, 21.4, the equipment-free version. This workout starts 2 minutes after you finish 21.3, or 2 minutes after that 15-minute time cap if you don't get all the reps done. So you've got a mandatory 2-minute rest, and then you've got a 5-minute window to get as many reps in 21.4 done as you can. The workout. In 5 minutes, as many rounds as possible of 20 alternating single leg squats or pistol squats, and then 20 freestanding handstand shoulder taps. We're going to drill into some movement standards here and what this looks like. So for that single leg squat, we need to do one rep on each leg, alternating back and forth the whole time. Looks a bit like this. One more. At the bottom of his squat, you'll notice that Tim's hip crease goes below his knee, just like in our air squat. Boom, and back up. Same with the other leg. Below his knee and back up. We need to make sure we're below parallel. Your hip floating around the same height as your knee is not a rep. Can you do one of those? That's no good for us. We need to get hip crease below knee. You can hold your foot out in front of you to help you get down there. Boom. You cannot hold your foot, like whatever. You just need to get below parallel and back up again. Things to watch out for. You must get that leg straight and balanced before you put your second foot down. So Tim does a squat, stands back up under control, he can now put his foot down. He needs to avoid being off balance and coming onto that other foot, there we go, for support, that's not a rep. Okay, things to be careful of there. There are no rules about what that squat looks like in terms of keeping your foot on the floor, but the more balanced, the more planted you can keep that foot that's on the floor, the better your pistol squat's going to be. We're going to get through our 20 alternating single leg pistols. If Tim misses one on his right leg, he has to re-perform his right leg before going onto his left leg. So Tim does one on his right leg, he misses that balance point, puts his foot down too early, he needs to repeat that rep before going to the other side. Second movement, 20 freestanding handstand shoulder taps. Should look, 20 freestanding handstand shoulder taps, that is the word. Should look a bit like this. Tim's going to kick himself into a handstand, making sure he's got lots of space around him, takes his hand off the floor and taps his other arm above the elbow for his 20 reps. If he was any good, he'd do them in the same spot on the floor and not wander around, but you know. Make sure you've got room, guys, okay? When you go upside down, you might go for a little walk, maybe you're going to come out of this sideways. Make sure you know how to escape a handstand before throwing yourself upside down and trying to take a hand off the floor, alright? If this isn't something you're super comfortable with, maybe just stop your workout there, that's okay. Today is not the day necessarily to get your first handstand, take a hand off the floor, try and touch your other shoulder, get it back to the floor, and then do the same on the other side. Like you don't need to PB all those things in one day. Options for this, okay? Tim's going to aim to kick himself up as high as he can, but he doesn't need to go all the way upside down. So we're looking for Tim to kick himself up as high as he safely can, get his hand, attach that opposite forearm, and then maybe he comes down for a single like so. Kicks himself up and back down. Providing his feet are off the floor, for the whole time that that other hand comes off the floor and back to the floor, it's a good rep. So it may be, we look for these slightly slower singles, we kick up as high as we safely can, we get that shoulder tap in, and we come back down. maybe we can get in some doubles if we've got a slightly more confident handstand, and then float back down. We don't need to hang upside down for all 20 reps. If we're entering at games.crossfit.com, we're in that official open, it's going to have to be one of those two versions. If you're entering at games.crossfit.com and going upside down on your hands seems like a terrible idea, cool, be comfortable, working through those pistols, seeing how far you get. If you're entering the intramural open, if you're doing this for a good Friday night workout, we could take this up against the wall. We could get into a handstand against the wall and do our shoulder taps up there. But if you're entered on the worldwide leaderboard, we need to be freestanding. Any questions, guys, reach out, as I've said before. Catch you guys in the next video.